moving on. I'm looking forward to this bit of the show actually because this is one that I threw in because I thought it can't be Everton without a bit of weirdness. So the weirdest moments, and here's the nominations, lads. We've got Louis McKenzie with Just Stop Oil at the Newcastle game in 2022. Sly Stallone, he phones every week, turning up to a game in 2007 against Reading. Headlock Gate in 2023, which caused absolute murder. The aforementioned previously in the show, Andy King talking about his goal against Liverpool. I'm still flabbergasted at that busy. Get off the pitch. I can't believe that was even a thing. So that was a weird moment. And then, I don't know if you remember this, but I remember walking off the ground after Man United 3-3, and some cop-out had the brilliant idea of driving down the Gladys Street straight after the match in his red car wearing a Liverpool shirt. Look, I don't condone the behaviour, what happened, but let's just say his car was written off, and I don't think he's ever driven down Walton again.
I fully condone the behaviour. That's like the equivalent of driving through the safari park with like a picnic basket on the roof of your car and just and cover your car in like, I don't know, like
I just remember fellas.
It was just
fellas shaking his car, and I there's a bit of me that felt sorry for him. Then I remembered that he's driving down Gladys Street when Liverpool stopped. So there we go.
Keith, his girlfriend's face was the one though, because she was just looking down like, "What are you doing?"
He probably left his house at 3-1.
We did, yeah, definitely.
That's what it was.
To take the piss, yeah.
That's what everyone was saying, weren't they? Keith, some weird moments down the years, some just complete, like, you can't even explain them, and it has only happened to a club like ours. But anything stand out there to you out of them nominations?
Our prince, our king, our hero, Louis McKechnie. He kept us up. He kept us up that season. Because without him, you don't get the 7 minutes of injury time. Without the 7 minutes of injury time, you don't get Alex Iwobi bursting through and slotting. And without Alex Iwobi bursting through and slotting, you don't get the Newcastle fans having to deflate their inflatable dinosaurs on the way out of the ground for the 6-hour drive home. So, like, genuinely, if he's not at the ground, if Everton haven't invited him on Sunday,
can you imagine the reception he gets? Could you imagine the reception he gets?
I'd have him out on the pitch in his Just Stop Oil t-shirt. By the way, what a job those lads do.
Oh yeah, retired now, aren't they?
Solidarity. Do you know, like, genuinely, he kept us up that season. That moment, he kept us up. That goal, by the way, I ended up in the paddock, and I sit like 6 rows back in the lower Bullens. I ended up in the paddock with that fall. It was just that I thought I was going to die.
Do you know the funny thing about Prince Louis? We'll call him now, the proper Prince Louis. I was watching on TV. I wasn't at the game. I was watching it. It was on Amazon, and I remember he was getting dragged past the paddock, and he was doing that thing where he was, dead weight, having to be carried by 4 people. And you talk about abuse in that moment, because listen, if this goes wrong and we don't win that game, he's forever an Everton anti-hero, or not even an anti-hero. He's forever an Everton villain. Yeah. But the fact that we win, I mean, the best thing for me, there was the away game at St. James's at Newcastle when we took a Louis McKenzie flag, which I think just summed it all up. I do want to come back to it, but
Just Stop Oil.
Yeah, I just go on.
There's so many great things about it. You've got the biggest, like the security guard with the biggest neck in the world, trying to get the bluntest bolt cutters.
The time they took to get those bolt cutters round as well. They came from the depth of the park end. I think they got carried past the paddock, didn't they?
You've got the fella in the Gladys Street who tries to climb onto the pitch with his own knife to cut him out, and the steward just gives him the knife back. There's so many. I got abuse from an old fella from behind me because as he was getting carried past us, I gave him a standing ovation. I thought it was brilliant.
Oh yeah,
I just thought it was so very Everton moment, and like you say, Warren, like if we had gone on to lose that game, then probably would feel a little bit differently about it, and I'd probably have gone out and bought a diesel car just out of spite. But Like the way it's turned out.
He's the hit. He's the hero we all needed, isn't he, Louis? Yeah. I mean, look, I don't think it's too far-fetched to say he played his part in keeping us up that season. Yeah. He's as big a part of the Crystal Palace game.
If you are listening to this podcast, and I'm sure you will be, get him on the pitch on Sunday.
Correct. Definitely. 100%.
No, Slice Stallone to the goalpost.
Yeah, time to the goalpost. Slice Stallone. Slice Stallone. I mean, just strange. I mean, I know he was a mate of Robert, whatever his name was. What was his name? The director we had for that time. I forget it now. The American. Yeah, mates with Bill, wasn't he? And we invited him over, and you know, he's done things like he's made films and wanted Goodison to be in the background for Creed and all that sort of stuff. But just surreal, and obviously him drinking that coffee and burning his lip. I mean, just weird. Talk to us about Slice Stallone.
Last week enjoyed Everton's adulation rather more than he enjoyed their team. Your commentary.
It's incredible. But yeah, I'd forgotten about the Creed thing as well.
Brilliant.
So that's a knock-on effect of this, isn't it? That was mad. Against Leicester, I think, that wasn't
it? West Brom.
Yeah.
West Brom.
I was like, can you cheer? And I think we were losing at the time as well. And they were trying to get everyone cheering.
Yeah.
Morales missed the penalty when he took it off.
That one?
Off Baines.
Oh, shit. Okay, yeah.
And then they wanted us to do that. And we were like, what? We've done. So when you actually see like the Rocky, it was Creed, wasn't it?
The Paddock were getting off and going, I'm having no part of this.
Well, you can just see like some honestly, because it's like the same thing repeated. You can just see some fella in the paddock doing all this. It's meant to be like cheer and bell you on. But yeah, that was a bizarre thing. I'll tell you what though, Slice Stallone managed to burn his mouth with the coffee. God help him if he would have taken a bite out of a Scouse pie. He would have. I mean, he doesn't talk very well.
Chicken balti pie or something, yeah.
His tongue would have just full on fell out, wouldn't it? I'm talking about the heat. The fillings of the pies at Goodison Park that are, you know, harvested from the surface of the sun. He would have, he would have been in trouble there. So yeah, Slice Stallone. Do you know what though? I'll be honest. I just remembered one thing as well about that day. My mum was sat next to me that day, and she decided that this was the moment to tell me. And bear in mind, like I was, how old was I then? About 20 maybe. And my mum told me that she absolutely loved Slice Stallone. Like she was in love with him, literally. And I was like, so as I'm like shouting Rocky, Rocky, my mum's like melting into the seat next to me. It's the most bizarre thing. I ended up doing him.
You're not my real dad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. To be fair though.
Les. I was just going to say, Les, Headlock Gate, just weird again. I mean, to have no complaint made to Merseyside Police, and I don't want to talk too much about it because it was obviously in a bit of a low period and a low point in the club's history, but just a very strange, weird time, and it felt a bit like Kick the Fans when we're down at the time, and it just seemed the whole episode was just. I've included in this, and this is meant to be light-hearted, obviously, but it came at an awful time for the club, and I remember at that time, I think we just lost to Southampton as well, and Southampton were doing awful, and I thought, this is us, we're down. There's nothing going for us at the minute as a club. We are down, and yeah, just a very weird time in Everton's history.
Yeah, I think you could call it unsavoury, couldn't you? Really, it was a very odd thing for the board to do, and I don't know. The thing about Everton, and especially in these situations where we're in like relegation scraps and that, is you want the fans on board because the fans get the backs to the wall mentality. We do like stick together at that moment and like put everything into keeping the team up, which we subsequently did, by the way, after sort of ousting the board weirdly. And it was a very, very strange thing for the board to do, for them to take on the siege mentality themselves and try and throw every fan essentially under the bus, because saying that one fan had done that and saying no other fan had stepped in if they'd seen it and just basically tarring the whole fan base as thugs, which is what they did. It was mad, and it was unforgivable, and you know, annoyingly, it's just reared its head again. It reared its headlock again with Sean Dyche talking about it and spouting bollocks on the overlap, saying, you know, about it happened. Sharpie couldn't go the game. Sharpie could go the game. No one said to Graham Sharp, you can't go the game. Okay. Yeah. What's the thing, you know? And at the time as well, he's a big fella. He's had enough abuse off Evertonians in the past Because his time at Everton, it wasn't all completely rose tinted, smacking goals in left, right, and centre every week. He had some rough moments at the club, especially towards the end before he left, and at the beginning to a degree as well. So he would have been getting stick then. He maybe would have got stick now, but big deal. You get on with it, don't you? It happens. But Peter Johnson used to get a lot of stick, and I think will maybe still turn up at the game. It happens. So for them to all sort of take that stand and have that big theatrical thing where all those like 6 seats were empty, it was absolutely pathetic. I don't want to go on about it too much to sort of kill the vibe.
Unnecessary.
It was odd, a really odd thing to do, and thankfully it backfired.
Yeah, it did. I mean, and just finally, from me, the last nomination on this category, the busy telling Andy King and the reporter to get off the pitch. I remember watching the official Everton history VHS before the last DVD that they brought out. And I used to obsess watching that. I used to watch it once a week all the time. John Motson did a brilliant job narrating it. I remember watching it as a kid and thinking, what has gone on there? Surely someone's told the busy you can't do that. But just a very strange one. But look, lads, I think we're all in agreement. Just Stop Oil, Louis, the deserved winner, and we need to get him to the ground on Sunday, don't we? Are we all in agreement?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
100%. There we go then. So the winner of the weirdest moment ever at Goodison Park, Louis McKenzie with Just Stop Oil against Newcastle in 2022. I don't want to spend too long on this next category because again, it's a little bit light-hearted, and there's other things I want to talk about. There is only one answer, but I want to talk about other things later on, which will be good to talk about. But we've had a lot of celebrity fans as Evertonians. We've got the better celebrity fans because our celebrity fans would never make a Dear Mr. Hicks video featuring Barry Grant in the middle of the Mediterranean. We'd never have what's his name out of Phoenix Nights. We wouldn't have him on it, and we wouldn't have everyone the Bunnyman and going on. So our celebrity fans are better. Our celebrity fans are harder. Our celebrity fans beat their celebrity fans any day of the week. But the best celebrity Everton fan, here we go. Here's the categories. I think there's going to be an obvious winner here, but I've got my own winner out of this. Amanda Holden, Liz McLaren, Lee Latchford Evans, purely because he was named Latchford after Bob Latchford, so he's got to be included. If you don't know who he is, by the way, he was one of the singers in Steps. Judi Dench, that came out to left field there, being an Evertonian, but there we go, we'll take it. John Parrott, listen, he's a world champion, so he's got to be on the list, and he's Duncan Ferguson's brother-in-law, so he's got to be there. And Bill Dean, those of you who don't know Bill Dean starred in Brookside. I think he was also in Scum and a couple of other films, but he was probably, from an Evertonian point of view, most famous for being in The Golden Vision. That brilliant film. If you haven't watched it, you need to get on it. It's on YouTube. You can just search in The Golden Vision. Brilliant Ken Loach documentary from an Everton perspective, following Everton in the 60s. I'm sorry, but it's Bill Dean for me. Anyone else want to talk about any of them celebrity fans there? Les, anyone?
I agree.
Anyone scream to?
Harry Cross in Brookie. He'd batter Barry Grant all day. Yeah, Bill Dean
Keith?
for me.
I think you've missed, from the nominations here, you've missed out some crackers. Jodie Comer, Tommy Fleetwood,
I know.
Matt Damon,
yeah, but I was,
Helena Bonham Carter,
Justin Bieber.
Yeah,
Justin Bieber.
there's as I said, we're much better than their celebrity fans. Justin Bieber, yeah, I
Comedy
think
Dave off the
we've
radio.
got much better, like I said, celebrity fans.
Yeah.
Met Comedy Dave, he's a good fella. Comedy Dave.
Bush?
Yeah, there's Andy Bush. Andy Bush, of course. Yeah.
Shane
I know we've
McGowan.
got some good celebrity fans. Pete,
Shane McGowan is my nomination for this.
Shane McGowan.
He's not on the short.
I don't know if you want to share
I'm going to chuck him in.
your story or your link. Shane McGowan, all right, there's your nomination. Pete, I don't know if you want to share your link to one of the members of the celebrity fan club.
Well, we've got Liz McLaren, Boss Blue, nice family. I know her brother.
There?
Yeah. So their brother Joe's a Boss Blue. So yeah, Liz McLaren's up there for me. Amanda Holden though wins hands down. The end. There's no Amanda Holden. I'm not one to publicly crush on celebrities, but I would marry her in a heartbeat, and I need to have a conversation with Les Dennis. That's it. That's all I've got to say.
The only reason I'm gonna pull rank on this nomination, or sorry, this category, is I don't think Amanda Holden would sit in the paddock, whereas Harry Cross and Brookie definitely would. So I'm going to pull rank again. I'm going to say the winner of the best celebrity fan at Goodison is Bill Dean. Has to be. And for Golden Vision as well. Has to be done. Moving on to the next one, and I'm open here in this category. I'm open to anyone wanting to offer their own opinions on this. But the best kit, and the nominations are for the best kit, the 60s plain blue, white round neck, made famous by that 60s team, obviously the FA Cup winning team, Alan Ball, Kendall Ball, Harvey. The 80s Lecoq Sportif with the small V-neck, obviously made famous by that great 1985 side. And the 90s NEC, leading up to the FA Cup final in 95. For me, that one is the winner, hands down, because it's my childhood. It's what I grew up with. But Les, did you want to offer your opinions there on the best ever Everton kit?
So just on that, you mean the one that they wore up to the semis, don't you? Not the one they wore in the final, because that was the next season's. The one with the white shorts and white socks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first kit, when I remember, was the 93 to 95 Everton kit before they played in the final. However, I will extend the NEC kit to... I saw someone wearing the 87. The 87 one was just plain blue. I really like that one.
Yeah, that's
so nice. I'm going to extend it to that. But Les, what would you go for? What would you go for your best kit?
I think for me, I can't see past that Goodison 125 kit. Do you remember the Goodison Centenary?
Okay.
Kit? I think for me,
the one Sandro wore.
Yeah, that was immaculate. Yeah. Out of these though, I think the 60s one. I love that 90s. That one you're talking about, Warren. I absolutely adored that kit, especially the two blue bands they had around the waistband on the shorts. That was a nice touch as well, and the socks were incredible. I love the 80s one, obviously, but I think I just love that 60s plain blue, plain white shorts and plain white socks. That's the perfect Everton kit for me.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Les on that. I think
Keith's going to agree with Les. Pete, what are you going to go for?
So I mean, in terms of home kits, I genuinely do think that the season after you're talking about with the NEC, the one that we wore for the FA Cup final and then had after that with Danker on, with the blue and black like stripy socks.
Hoop socks.
For me, I love it. That was like a moment in time. Bring them back. The blue and black hoop socks. I don't know what it is about them.
I just want to throw in an honourable mention here. It's not like one that will jump out to anyone immediately, but I think it's one of the most like aesthetically pleasing home kits we've had in the modern era. And I think it was 2011-12 when we lost to the Shite at Wembley in the semi. The Lecoq Chang one, and the inside of the collar was like the old amber.
Yeah,
it was just it was a beautiful kit. It looked so good, but it's tinged by memories of Sylvain Distin at Wembley.
One for me as well, honourable mention for a recent kit is the 2016-17 one with the Boca Juniors socks. That was Lukaku banging them in, and that kit in all blue was stunning. Absolutely amazing in all blue.
Everton should play in all blue. Agreed. I will bang that drum repeatedly.
Well, if you come to Goodison Park next season,
I saw someone tweet this the other day.
Do
there you go.
Is that their kit now? Yeah,
that's the actual kit. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
You're playing blue shorts, blue socks.
I saw someone tweet about Everton should be playing in all blue, and the amount of kickoffs people did online about it, which should be white. It should be white. I think all blue looks majestic. I really do. I think then we're probably all in agreement that it's probably the 60s kit, just that plain, simple, pure. But I do love the shout of the Centenary kit. That should have been our kit this season, really, or the Cambridge blue one that they brought out. That should have been the kit for 1 year. But I think we'll call it on that. I think it's just so wonderfully Everton. When you think of the Golden Vision, you think of Kendall Ball and Harvey. You think of the cup win in 66, title winning side in 69, 70. That kit, pure, simple, sublime. So the winner of the best ever Everton kit is the 60s plain blue, white, round neck. Right, this one now, we're going to finish off with this last one. And when I sent this to you, I didn't put any nominations in because I just wanted us to talk about this. And it's the best crowd shout ever. Now, this could include a chant. This could include one little thing. But for me, I shared with you, Keith, earlier a thread on Twitter where somebody had put up, one of the Everton accounts had put up your favourite ever shout at Goodison, and there was so many replies. It was funny, and I was reading them. And if you're having a bad day and you need cheering up, just read that thread, or read something about the shout that the crowd have made, because I was crying, laughing at some of them. I think a couple of my favourite ones are obviously more modern, and it featured on the documentary the other day on Sky. Is your man Sidibe, for fuck's sake, get over? That's one of them. 220 million to watch fucking shite. That's another one. I've read a couple of them. I love the one, fucking El Kone, if you had 10 shots at John Lennon, he'd still be alive today. Loved that one. I loved the announcement on the tannoy, if you found with smoking in the ground, you'll be ejected, and someone shouted, quick, give Phil Neville a ciggy. What's he supposed to do? Fucking disappear? Knobhead. That one as well.
Just going through that thread you shared, Warren, and somebody's put the video in there.
Some of the shout. Just one more if I could before I hand over to your lads as well. And this would be my winner of this, but I think it's too hard to choose a winner because there's so many great ones. My winner would be just fucking it. Jelavic against Man City. I think that's Goodison to a T. Anyone got any crowd shouts or anything they remember? Anyone got any crowd shouts that they have they remember where they just either were laughing their heads off or they just thought that's why I come to the match, to listen to things like that?
I'm struggling with this.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
it is.
We've gone all blue kipper here, haven't we?
We have.
The Jelavic one, though, the Jelavic one is probably one of the Everton videos that I've watched the most. Like, I will go back and periodically just watch that video on repeat. And I don't mean like I'll watch it once. I mean, I'll watch it 10 times on the bounce, because I just remember that summed that Everton up. You know, we played Man City, expected to get beat. I think Osman had scored an absolute belter as well. Was that the game where Osman scored with his left foot and it like sort of did one of them? Or was that a different game?
Yes, it was. It was.
Yeah,
that
it was
Osman
actually,
one.
he stood outside of the foot and Joe Hart didn't move.
Yeah, and it was like, and Jelavic hadn't scored for about 20 games, and he was just overthinking everything. And in that moment, it was, and you can see the Gladys Street saying, "Come on," like trying to pull the players towards us. I think it was Fellaini who broke, but then that bit where the crowd goes silent, go on, just fucking hit it, and then it's that silence, and then just bedlam, and I just love it. I just think that video for me just sums Everton up in every way. I just love it. It's my favourite ever video, probably up there anyway.
I'm going to go a little bit abstract here, and it kind of defeats the purpose of the fact we're doing a podcast about Goodison. But it's not a crowd shout, but it is a fan shout. And it was that fella. Do you remember the lad getting interviewed on Sky Sports News? And he says, "Do you work with Copites? They're horrible."
Yeah.
I just want to recognise that moment of pure brilliance from him.
But the look on his face where he's like just looking into the camera and he's like, "Do you work with Copites?" And he's got that look on his face of like, "You know what I'm on about?" And then he just goes, "They're horrible." And just the look of like, "Do you not understand what I'm talking about here, mate?" It's just that pure like aggressiveness,
exactly,
but also like wit as well.
It's a proper "if you know, you know," isn't it?
Yeah. The other one that springs to mind, do you remember the lad at Chelsea where the interviewer, really attractive interviewer for Chelsea TV, also on his interviewing the lads, and he just pulls that face and goes, "Hiya, fuck me, you're a princess, you aren't you?" You can imagine that lad.
As well.
Yeah.
And on Goodison.
It's on Goodison. You just imagine him being on the ale all day on the coach or something, and he's just stuck his head in there, like down in London, in like one of the poshest parts of London, and just totally like scouse as anything. Brilliant. I know that wasn't
got to give a shout,
but yeah.
if you're doing non-Goodison, you've got to give a shout out to that fella as well. We want Mourinho, lad. We want Pellegrini. If this Iranian's got the dough, he says he has. We want Mourinho, and if we don't get Mourinho, we want Pellegrini.
I often think about him, mate. I wonder how he is, and I wonder how his blood pressure is. I hope he's doing all right. I hope he's thriving.
Yeah.
I'm sure he is. I mean, look, we can class them as Goodison moments because them fans have sat in Goodison, so it kind of counts. Yeah, I mean, just some of the shouts as well, just absolutely brilliant. I mean, the all-time classic, obviously, whoever we play, we could be playing Barcelona, we could be playing Brazil, 1970, and someone will always go, "Come on, Everton, these are shite, these."
Oh, that's the classic, isn't it?
Into these,
just always into these Everton.
Or the classic crowd moment of turn.
Oh yeah.
It's beautiful because you don't hear that anywhere apart from Goodison.
No.
Can I say something as well? I saw a hilarious shout on Twitter the other day, or X, or whatever you call it now. And it was when Michael Oliver, I think I put it on the group, when Michael Oliver got announced as the referee for the Southampton game. And then someone quote tweeted it and said, we should send it off properly. Let's kidnap him.
I've just the thread I was referring to here. This is brilliant. This one, and it's someone called Grino who was on Twitter, and he posted this back in 2019, replying to this, and he or she has put at the semi-final versus Spurs in '95. Just as Ian Walker was sorting out his water bottle at the side of the goal, my cousin shouts, "Hey Walker, if you see your Al fella, tell him to fuck off." It's just full of it. But yeah, I think Pete, you're right. I think, look, it's too hard a category to pick one winner, but I think if something sums Everton up, it's that just fucking it. So I think we're going to go with the best crowd shouts ever at Goodison. And look, there's so many of them, and of course, please share your thoughts with us, anyone who's listening. But we'll go with just fucking it against Man United, because the video alongside it, like you said, Pete, you described it so eloquently there. The silence just before he hits it, and the go on as well, and the rise of the crowd, absolutely brilliant. Lads, I've thoroughly enjoyed tonight and reminiscing and getting all nostalgic, and a little bit of a laugh, a little bit of a bit of fun to talk about some of our best memories. But what I'm going to do just before we finish up, I'm going to come round you one by one, and I just want you to, in a word or in a sentence, sum up what Goodison means to you. Pete, I'll start with you. What does Goodison mean to you?
I've only got one sentence. It means everything. Everything. It's I think everyone will probably agree that we've had really good times, we've had really bad times, probably not as many good times as we would have wanted. But yeah, it's I'm going to miss everything about it, the people in particular. It's a place that's made me who I am today, including a very bold person.
Keith, Goodison, what does it mean to you?
Family, for me. First went with my old fella 35 years ago. He's no longer with us now. And I'm lucky enough that I get to take my lad every week. And he's got to the stage now where he's 19. He's a big strapping lad. He's getting his round in at the pub. And the privilege of taking him to do what my old fella took me to do is overwhelming. And I know that come 1:30, 1:45 on Sunday afternoon, I'm just going to be a bubbling mess thinking of that.
Yeah,
you're getting me going here. Les, go on. What does it mean to you?
I couldn't have put it any better. It is a family thing, isn't it? It's just that, like, your dad takes you take your kids, it goes on and on and on, and people doing that for generations, and just the people around you and everything. It's like they're just, like I've said this before, they're your mates for 90 minutes. You don't see them outside the game. It's just family and friends. But I think I'll paraphrase it with Charles Dickens. It was the best of gaffs. It was the worst of gaffs.
Definitely. I think for me, I think you've all hit the nail on the head spectacularly there. And look, I love the news this week that the women are going to be playing there as their permanent home. I think it's absolutely fantastic that the place isn't going to get bulldozed. And I know some people have said, well, it's technically not the last ever game. Goodison's still going to be there. But for me, it's the last ever game of what we know and what we know Goodison as. And you mentioned there about the people who sit around you for 90 minutes. I'm not sitting next to anyone in the new grounds who's sitting near me. And that in itself, to me, really makes me sad. And I shared this story a couple of weeks back after the Ipswich game, but I remember looking at a couple standing a few rows behind me, but at the very end of the match, I stayed on for a little bit at the end, and they were just sobbing, holding each other, sobbing. It must have been like their last game, and that really got me. And I think come Sunday, it's going to be very, very difficult for me personally to hold back the tears. I think I'm going to be a blubbering mess. I know there's a plan for us to do a little post-match outside the ground after the game. I don't know how coherent I'll be or how much I'll be able to talk, but I think for me, Everton's given me so much. For 32 years now, I've been an Everton, well, since my first game. And I've said this before, but through Everton, I've met mates, and I've been to christenings, I've been to weddings, I've been to birthday parties, holidays, down to Wembley with my mates as well. You name it, whatever event it is, I've been to. And if it wasn't for our football club and wasn't for meeting them at Goodison and the surrounding area, going to boozers, walking in them tight terraced streets, that wouldn't happen. So for me, it's a massive part of my life personally. And I think everyone's so eloquently said that tonight. So I just want to go on, Keith. What were you going to say? Going to add to that?
Well, I mean, if it wasn't for Everton and it wasn't for Goodison, we wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't have met like friends for life.
Yeah,
that we do the pod with, we go to the pub with. I've developed like this social circle of people I never knew existed 10 years ago, and here we are. And it's just like, without Everton, that's not a thing. It changes our lives irrevocably. Without us even realising.
And that's the same.
Warren found out the other week, didn't we, Warren, that we went to the same school?
Yeah.
He was a year. Yeah. He was in my school the year below me in primary school for like a year, and like we didn't even know we were talking. So, and then we randomly spoke about it on here. Mad.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, look, I know there's a lot of football clubs, and football clubs are the beating heart of the community, especially, you know, a lot lower down the leagues you go as well. And it's the same for every football club. You meet people through the match and that sort of thing. I think there's something totally unique about Everton now, and a lot of things we've discussed tonight have backed that up. And I think that we are going to lose some part of what makes us special. But I think that this is a time, obviously now going forward, that we can make hopefully things even more special. So we'll leave it there for tonight. I really want to thank all three of you for joining me. I know we've gone on a bit longer there than probably we would have wanted to, but I wanted to really celebrate Goodison, our fantastic home. It's been our home for 133 years in a discussion tonight. So my thanks to Les, my thanks to Pete, and my thanks to Keith for joining me on a special weekly where we did the Goodison Awards tonight. Keep us posted all over the weekend on the Blue Room. We're going to have some excellent content coming out. There's already been some amazing content, but it's going to be all the fallout of Southampton, and I'm no doubt it's going to be a very emotional post-match. And if you like our post-matches and enjoy them, I think you're in for a real treat on Sunday when we all get together, when we all have a big cry, and when we all talk about it. So that's been your weekly this week. Have a fantastic weekend, however you're watching the match, whether you're there in person or whether you're watching in the pub or whether you're spending it with family or whoever. And let's hope it's the start of much better and bigger things coming for our amazing football club. Up the Toffees. We'll speak to you soon.